connection. And all of the leaders I've studied figured out how to connect to the people. I mean, think about it. In Lincoln's time, he can't travel as easily as you can 150 years later. So he actually has people coming in to see him in the morning, and he gets a feeling for their stories as a result. After a while, his secretary said, "Lincoln, you don't have time for these ordinary people." And he said, "You're wrong. These are my public opinion baths. I must never forget the popular assemblage from which I have come." The parallel in the corporate world is what they call managing by walking around, which means you get out of the particular office that you're in, the bubble that you're in, and you see and talk to people as much as possible. The more you have a sense of what the people who are both your customers and your clients are going to know and feel, the more you can tell whether they're ready for that big action that you're going to take. And Lincoln understood that instinctively. So did FDR, because he knew the country needed a boost of morale, and it was time for them to listen. I mean, that's the other skill besides connectivity, is that ability to communicate. And it depends on the technology of your time, what the form of communication is. In Lincoln's case, it would be a written speech. And it was perfect for him because he was so great. And by the time you get to Teddy Roosevelt, it's much more shorthand because it's headlines that capture attention. But he knew how to do that, you know, speak softly and carry a big stick, the square deal. He even gave Maxwell House the slogan, "Good to the very last drop." He was great at that. He'd be good in the Twitter age. But figuring out what it is that reaches people emotionally, not just reaches people, I think is the key to leadership today. I think confidence is at the core of leadership. Confidence in yourself, confidence that you have the talents to do the job you're there for. But at the same time, that doesn't mean a cockiness. It means that there is a humility that even with confidence, things are going to go wrong. Even with confidence, you're going to have to deal with other people who may be difficult to deal with. And again, that's the other key, is making sure there are people around you who can question your assumptions, so that when that moment comes to make the decision, it hasn't just been one line because everybody thinks they know what you want to do and they give that to you. And that's what happened to LBJ later in Vietnam. He's only getting the information they think he wants to hear. That's why when they talk about emotional intelligence, I think that word really captures a lot of leadership skills, because it means knowing what your talents are, knowing what the range of them are, and knowing which ones you have personally and which ones you're going to get from the people that are working with you, and sharing that sense of a team so that together you can make up all the different parts. Lincoln's brilliance was to put those rivals of his who had run against him for the presidential nomination in 1860 right in his cabinet. And, you know, I mean, obviously Lyndon Johnson would say it more crudely, you know, better to have your enemies inside the tent pissing out than outside the tent pissing in. But in a noble way, Lincoln said, "I just want the people around me who are the best people," and he kept going forward. What really matters for a president's legacy is, did they make a difference in the ordinary lives of people? And I think that's what all leaders want. That it's not just the bluster, not even just perhaps the profit of the company, but did they make an important innovation that is now part of the common currency? I'm so glad to know with Salesforce that that commitment is there, that 1% commitment, that people's time and energy and money is spent doing something good in the community. And I think when people in a company or people in a country feel that they're fighting for something together, they feel larger. They feel that they're doing something that will be remembered, and that's what all of us want.
Great.